Hello everyone and welcome back to an election watch analysis video. Today we'll be discussing the 2022 Senate election. So as many of you may know, the Senate is currently at a 50-50 split. The Democrats only have the majority due to Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote as the vice president. So I think that currently the Democrats' goal going into this midterm election is to expand their seat count, while the Republicans, of course, want to take back the chamber as a whole. So make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video to see who wins in my prediction. But let's get started with the safe states. I'll start with the Democrats since they have the majority. There will be two states that I'll be talking about and the reasons why they're safe, but other ones, I believe that there really isn't much to discuss. So Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, and Maryland will all be safe for the Democrats. So Oregon, the reason why I'm putting Oregon as safe, basically Oregon in 2016 was 11% for Hillary Clinton. She actually got exactly 50% of the vote, which is pretty interesting to me. But anyway, she got that, which is a likely margin. Meanwhile, Ron Wyden, the incumbent senator, got 56% of the vote. He outperformed her by 6% and won by about 23%. He's a very strong incumbent, and I believe that he can win by a safe margin in Oregon, and not to mention that Oregon did shift 5% to the left in 2020. Anyway, let's get off this and on to Colorado, the next state we'll be discussing. So Michael Bennet in 2016, when he ran for re-election, he actually won, I believe, El Paso County. No, he didn't win El Paso County. I believe it's Pueblo County, I want to say, but he actually did better in several of these far more conservative southern areas and more rural areas. He actually outperformed Hillary Clinton in many of these areas, though he did underperform her in the Denver area. So now that we're heading into 2022, I think he'll have the same margins as most Democratic candidates in the Denver area while doing well in the South, so that actually could push him above Joe Biden's margin in 2020. So anyway, those are Democratic safe states, and in the Republican safe states, I'll fill all these out. There won't be much to discuss, but I think I will discuss a few. So let's see. I think Iowa, assuming Chuck Grassley runs again, it is a safe state, even though some of the populists in Iowa don't want him to run again. I think even if he does, he could definitely win by a safe margin, but potentially under, but I don't see that happening. Missouri is pretty funky as a state. If Eric Greshams runs, it's pretty hard to predict, but a lot of Republicans are trying to create a runoff law, essentially, in the state Senate, which means that if, let's say, Greshams gets 40% of the vote, but he doesn't get over 50%, there would be runoff, meaning that Greshams would likely lose. So a candidate like Eric Schmidt, the incumbent Attorney General of Missouri, who is far more safe as a candidate for the GOP, could win. So I think I'm just going to put it as safe for now, but that could definitely change. And there are all the safe states. It brings the total up for 44 for the Republicans and 46 for the Democrats. And now there will be no Democratic likely states. For the Republicans, I just think Alaska, maybe 10% victory, I think, for Murkowski as of now. And Ohio, another likely state. I think Tim Ryan is an okay candidate. He would have been a good candidate maybe 10 years ago before the Trump GOP essentially got a stranglehold on Ohio in, of course, electoral terms, meaning that Trump has been winning by such large margins in Ohio. I think that any candidate that has his endorsement would get at least 5% of the vote. And Democrats essentially need to run a Sherrod Brown as candidate, which is pretty good in my opinion, against someone like Jim Renacci, who is not a great candidate for the GOP. So I think Democrats are at a huge disadvantage in Ohio. So now it's up to 46-46, a current tie. And now we head into the lean and tilt states besides Florida, which is a likely state. Anyway, so now that we have all the likely states filled out, Republicans have a 1-seat majority. So I'll start off with the Democratic lean states. I think Nevada will be lean. Another thing I actually noticed was that Catherine Cortez Masto slightly underperformed Hillary Clinton in the state back in 2016. But nevertheless, I think she'll still win by a lean margin. Anyway, that will be it for the Democratic lean states. For the Republicans, they will also not have any lean states besides New Hampshire. I'm putting New Hampshire as lean, I think around 2% for Krista Nunu. I like to address the current argument against Nunu's win, which is that state and federal elections are different. That's definitely a worthy argument, and you can definitely see examples of that, such as Montana's 2020 Senate race, where Governor Steve Bullock lost despite being elected on the same ballot as Donald Trump 4 years earlier as governor. Anyway, New Hampshire is still a swing state. It's a Democratic leaning swing state at that, but still, it's very moderate, and it's a pretty ripe ground for someone like Chris Sununu, who is another moderate. I think he'll win. Also, current approval rating polls show that Chris Sununu is approved by upwards of 60%. Meanwhile, Maggie Hassan, the incumbent Democrat, is actually underwater, about minus 3%, if memory serves me. So I think Sununu is just too popular to lose at this point. And now we get into the tilt states for all the parties. So I'll start from west to east. So we get into Arizona. I'm putting that as tilt D because Mark Kelly, actually, he's doing very well in fundraising. His popularity remains above water. He's doing very well with independents and Democrats, and especially in a place like Maricopa County. He has, again, plenty of money. And the Republican candidates aren't great as of now. So I think that Mark Kelly wins by maybe 1%, maybe a little under 1.5. As his main opponent, Mark Brnovich, the incumbent attorney general, has been taking on more and more conservative positions that could maybe potentially please the Trump base, but alienate many suburbanites. And anyway, we're heading on to Georgia next. I think this is tilt D because I believe Herschel Walker is an exceptional candidate for the GOP, but it really depends on if he actually aligns himself with Donald Trump closely enough that he alienates enough of the suburbs for Warnock to win. So Stacey Abrams would likely be on the ballot as well, which could help Warnock essentially with many minority turnout. So in the end, I think Warnock's going to narrowly win, but I think Herschel Walker has a solid shot, and I wouldn't underestimate him. North Carolina made a whole video on this. You should go check it out. But yeah, I think it's tilt R as of now. Now going on to Wisconsin, I think that Ron Johnson doesn't have a great shot. I think the national environment would have to be pretty favorable to the Republican Party for him to win. Again, as much like I mentioned before, he's taken on a lot of conservative positions that really seem out of line with many of the suburbanites in Wisconsin. And many Democrats seem pretty confident on him leaving. But in the end, I think that if the Republicans run another candidate, I think it's tilt R because Wisconsin is exceptionally close to the swing state. So I'm going to put it as tilt R for now, but it could potentially change. Now it is 50 for the Republicans and 49 for the Democrats, with Pennsylvania still outstanding. So Pennsylvania, currently, I believe the best candidate for the Democrats is Malcolm Kenyatta. He isn't getting a lot of attention right now, but he could do very well in Philadelphia, in the suburbs. He might lose a little bit of support compared to Joe Biden in Pittsburgh, since he doesn't have very much blue-collar support. But in the end, I think he's a solid choice for Democrats. Meanwhile, the Republicans have Sean Parnell, who is a populist, but potentially have some suburban appeal. I think Parnell could potentially beat John Fetterman, who is the lieutenant governor and current frontrunner, because Fetterman is very liberal, very progressive, and that could alienate many in the Philadelphia suburbs, but it could help him in areas like Pittsburgh and such. So in the end, I think that this is tilt Democratic, but depending on the matchup, it could shift. So there we have it. The map stands at 50 Republicans to 50 Democrats, meaning that nothing changes. There would be one flip in New Hampshire and one flip in Pennsylvania. So that's it. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and you can subscribe for more content such as this. Hit the notification bell to be notified when my videos come out. Leave a comment, tell me what your prediction may be. Give me video suggestions. That is always appreciated. Check out the description. Join my Discord, my mock government server. We have a lot of fun on those. And on your left, you will see a watch more button. And if you hit that video, it is custom tailored to your interests, so you can check out that. Also on the right, you can subscribe if you haven't already. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.